One of the biggest financial issues you're facing, we're all facing, is inflation. What do you do? How can you manage it? How can you inflation-proof your life? I'm going to help you with that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, it's no longer a headline. Inflation is real. It's here. We've got the highest inflation that we've seen since it was on its downslope following the hyperinflation of the late 70s, early 80s. Highest inflation since then. By some measures, we've talked about this before, I've done some videos on it. By some measures, it's actually calculating a lot higher than what the CPI is right now. And so we're all feeling it, okay? We're all dealing with it. The question is, how can you thrive during an inflationary time? How can you inflation-proof your life? And I'm not saying, well, inflation won't impact you. No, but it won't impact you. Financially, you'll still be able to thrive, make progress, and achieve your financial goals despite rising costs almost everywhere you look. How can you inflation-proof your life? You might not like these, but I've got four ways, okay? And then first one is you've got to be on a budget. You've got to build a budget. I don't care your financial situation. I don't care how much you make. You've got to build a budget right now to inflation-proof your life. Why? Why would you say, wait, this guy's saying build a budget even though costs are out of my control and going up? Yeah, that's right, because you need to figure out how much margin you have. You've got to build a budget and be strict, disciplined about how much margin do I have. Because listen, inflation's going to eat up some of that margin. And you've got to be okay with that temporarily, but you've got to know where your money's going. You've got to have eyes on your budget and make sure that there's margin. No more building that budget to make sure that, well, I spend all of my income. No way. In an inflationary time, you are getting poorer. You are getting pinched. That is a challenging financial situation. Can't do it. You've got to build the budget right now and make sure you've got margin in your financial life. Second is that budget helps you figure out where you can and should substitute expenses. When I was back getting my finance degree in college, I remember my econ class, they were talking about inflation and they were talking about substitution. And I thought, really? That's so logical. Am I actually paying money for this? Is this going to be on the test? Of course. One of the ways to manage inflation, if you go out to eat and you're like, oh, geez, steak is way too expensive, I'll get the chicken. If chicken's way too expensive, fine, I'll get the fish. If fish is way too expensive, I'll get the salad, okay? And listen, in this inflationary time, if the salad's too expensive, eat at Taco Bell before you go out with your friends, okay? And then just get an appetizer or something like that, or get a drink so you're not that hungry, whatever, okay? That's how you deal with inflation. That's that substitution. Or maybe the substitution, at least for my family, this is what it's been, is listen, going out to eat is just way too expensive. Having to tip a server and all that sort of stuff, I can get my own meals, so we limit how much we're going out to eat, or instead of going out to eat for the sit-down restaurant, we'll do more of the, grab-and-go kind of restaurants, whatever. Whatever the situation is, you've got to have eyes on your budget, where your money's going, so that you've got margin and that you can clearly and objectively make substitution decisions when needed. The second way to inflation-proof your life is own assets. That's right, own assets. One of the most disappointing things to me about how things have gone since the pandemic is those that have owned assets have financially they've been extremely successful. There's almost been a windfall. That's why I'm staggering here. Almost been a windfall. They have won, okay, if you've owned assets. The folks that live more paycheck to paycheck that are financially struggling or aren't as well off, the only thing they've gotten through this pandemic is they've got some unemployment help. Maybe they're getting a higher wage, but they're having to shoulder the burden of higher costs, and so they haven't made the progress that other people have, right? I'm not going to get into the statistics now, but the wealthiest people in the world, their wealth has grown significantly. Why? Because they're greedy, whatever. I'm not making value judgments. They own assets. The assets have appreciated. Think about this. If you owned a house and now your house is worth 10% more, fantastic, okay? If you've owned stocks and now your stocks are up 15%, fantastic. If you didn't own a house or you didn't own stocks, you didn't see that asset appreciation. Inflation is when there's too many dollars chasing after too few goods and services. own assets during inflationary times. That helps to inflation-proof your life. If you're looking around saying, my goodness, houses are expensive. I would never pay that for this house. Well, yeah, if you owned your own house, then you might say, gosh, I could sell my house for how much now, right? Now, if you don't own a house or you don't own assets right now, don't hear me say you've got to own assets to inflation-proof your life as like, shame on you. You weren't prepared. You didn't do this. No. I'm just telling you for the future, and start right now if you haven't started yet. Own assets, own stocks, own real estate, own assets. That will help you keep up with or inflation-proof your life. Third, limit and minimize your debt, but truly, all of your debt should be on fixed interest rates. There's a conspiracy theory. I'm going to call it conspiracy. I don't really know, but there is a theory out there that says as our country has printed more and more money and like that's all been to create inflation, to minimize and manage the amount of debt that our country is taking on. Okay, well, should we be worried about the debt and the deficit? No, we'll just inflate our way out of it. I have no idea. I don't know if that's just speculation or conspiracy theory or real, or at least partially real. I don't know. But the theory is, well, if you've got a fixed amount of debt on a fixed interest rate, and now everything costs more and there's more money sloshing around, then the magnitude of that debt and the amount of that payment feels smaller. Well, yeah, absolutely. That's not a reason to go out there and take on more debt, in my opinion. I don't think so, if you're trying to inflation-proof your life. But make sure all the debt that you have, any debt that you have, is at a fixed interest at the lowest interest possible. You can truly win during this inflationary game. There's more margin debt than I think there ever has been, okay? And if you look at the stat for how many people are taking out home equity loans and how many people have used their home equity line, guys, it's gonna alarm you, okay? So lots of people are looking, saying, well, geez, prices are costing more. I can get a low fixed interest rate. I'll take that trade. Make sure that your debt is at a fixed interest rate to fight inflation. And then the final way that I would tell you to inflation-proof your life is start saving for your financial goals early. Start early. That's like personal financial planning 101. I know you've heard that one before, but truly, if it's going to take more dollars to save up for your goals, because listen, in the future, those goals you're saving for, it's going to cost more than what you thought. You've got to start early. Start that compounding process early. If in the future things are going to cost more, right now things are costing more, therefore it's difficult to save as much as you once did. Well, starting early, you'd have more dollars. You'd be ahead of pace. So start early. Inflation is another reason why that principle is so important. So start early. And if you are listening to this saying, I heard that one before, and listen, it's not early for me anymore. It's not. I missed that boat. Fine. Start now. Start now. Build that budget, build out some margin, okay? Make sure that you are owning assets, are investing in assets, that you've got fixed interest on all your debt, and find a way to save up as much as possible as you can for those goals. Your CFP that's doing comprehensive financial planning can help you with all that. Help you with those trade-offs and figure out how can you consider all areas of your financial life as well as inflation and take the right wise step for you to make progress in your financial life. If you don't have a CFP that can help you with that, you can always contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.